Once upon a time, there was a woman named Amelia who had trouble sleeping. Every night she would toss and turn, her mind racing with thoughts and worries. She tried everything to get a good night's sleep, from meditation to sleep aids, but nothing seemed to work. One night, as she lay in bed, she noticed a soft glow emanating from the window. Curious, Amelia got out of bed and went to investigate. She peered out of the window and saw a beautiful garden, bathed in moonlight. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. The flowers were bigger and more colorful than any she had seen in the daytime, and the trees glowed with an ethereal light. Amelia felt drawn to the garden and decided to venture outside. She put on her slippers and walked out of her house, barefoot in her nightgown, towards the garden. As she stepped closer, she felt the cool grass between her toes, and the soft wind blew through her hair. The garden was like nothing she had ever seen before. It was filled with lush greenery, sparkling waterfalls, and colorful flowers that seemed to glow in the sunlight. As she walked deeper into the garden, she heard the sound of a trickling stream. Following the sound, she came across a small pond with crystal clear water. As she looked into the pond, she saw a reflection of herself that was more vibrant and alive than she had ever seen before. As she continued her walk, she came across a towering tree with leaves that shimmered like diamonds. She reached out to touch the tree, and as she did, she felt a surge of energy flowing through her body. She closed her eyes and felt the warmth of the sun on her face, the gentle breeze on her skin, and the scent of the flowers filling her nose. As she walked around the pond, she saw a figure standing on the other side. It was a woman with long hair and a flowing dress. Amelia felt drawn to her and walked around the pond to get closer. The woman smiled at Amelia and beckoned her closer. "Welcome to the Garden of Dreams," she said. "I am the keeper of this place." Amelia was amazed. She had never heard of such a place before. The keeper explained that the garden was a place of rest and renewal, a place where people could come to escape their worries and find peace. The garden was only visible to those who needed it, and Amelia was one of the lucky few who had been chosen. The keeper offered Amelia a seat on a nearby bench, and they talked for hours. Amelia shared her fears and worries, and the keeper listened with compassion and understanding. She told Amelia that the garden had a special power, that it could heal and rejuvenate those who visited it. The fairy led Amelia to a small clearing where she saw a group of unicorns grazing on the grass. Their coats were as white as snow, and their manes sparkled like diamonds. Amelia approached the unicorns, and one of them nuzzled her hand as if to say hello. The fairy explained to Amelia that the unicorns were the guardians of the garden, and that they had the power to heal any wounds, physical or emotional. Amelia felt a sense of peace wash over her as she watched the unicorns. The fairy then led Amelia to a hidden corner of the garden, where there was a small pond surrounded by willow trees. The water in the pond was a deep shade of blue, and it shimmered like a starry sky. The fairy explained to Amelia that the pond was the entrance to the dream realm, a place where one could experience the most vivid and enchanting dreams. Amelia sat down by the pond and dipped her toes in the water. As she did, she felt a sense of calm wash over her. She closed her eyes and let herself drift into a peaceful sleep. As the night wore on, Amelia felt herself growing sleepy. The keeper led her to a small cottage at the edge of the garden and showed her to a comfortable bed. The bed was adorned with the softest sheets and pillows Amelia had ever felt, and she sank into it, feeling the weight of the world lift from her shoulders. Amelia slept soundly that night, and every night after that. She would visit the garden whenever she needed to escape the stresses of life, and the keeper would always be there to listen and offer comfort. Over time, Amelia learned that the garden was not just a place of rest, but a place of transformation. Every time Amelia visited the garden, she felt more at peace with herself and the world. She found that her worries and fears began to dissipate, and she began to see the beauty and wonder in life once again. She learned to let go of her anxieties and live in the moment, and the garden became her sanctuary. Years passed, and Amelia grew old. One night, as she lay in bed in the garden, the keeper appeared before her hair now silver and her dress more radiant than ever. "It is time," the keeper said. "Time for you to leave the garden and return to the waking world." Amelia felt a pang of sadness at the thought of leaving the garden, but she knew that it was time to go. She hugged the keeper tightly, feeling the love and comfort that the garden had brought her over the years. As she stepped out of the garden, Amelia felt a sense of peace and gratitude wash over her. She knew that she would never forget the Garden of Dreams and the keeper who had become a dear friend. She knew that the lessons she had learned in the garden would stay with her for the rest of her life. Amelia returned to her home, but things were different now. She no longer felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. She knew that life would still have its challenges, but she felt better equipped to face them. She had a newfound sense of calm and purpose, and she knew that the Garden of Dreams had given her the gift of inner peace. Over the years, Amelia shared the story of the Garden of Dreams with many people. Some were skeptical, but others felt drawn to the idea of a place of rest and renewal. Amelia encouraged those who were interested to seek out the garden for themselves, knowing that it had the power to transform lives. And so, the legend of the Garden of Dreams grew. People from all over the world came to visit, seeking solace and healing. The garden became a symbol of hope and renewal, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always a place of light and beauty. Amelia lived a long and happy life, but she never forgot the magic of the Garden of Dreams. Every night, before she went to sleep, she would close her eyes and picture the garden in her mind. She knew that it would always be there for her, a place of comfort and peace. And so, dear listener, if you ever find yourself struggling to sleep or feeling lost and alone, remember the story of the Garden of Dreams. Close your eyes and imagine yourself walking through the garden, feeling the soft grass beneath your feet and the cool breeze on your skin. And know that even in the darkest of nights, there is always a place of light and beauty waiting for you. Good night, and sweet dreams.